Match day 34 roundup. Here we are. Day of the coronation, obviously, so there was no early kickoff today. But I'm going to get into last week's results, and obviously there were a few games midweek as well, so we'll get into some of those. We'll start off with the early kickoff last week, which was at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 4, West Ham United 3. Probably the game of the weekend, if I'm being quite honest. From what I saw, end-to-end stuff, little bit of a mad game as well. Crystal Palace always seem to be in the ascendancy, but each time they go forward, West Ham would always seem to like peg one back, and it always seemed to be from set pieces as well, which is obviously a weak point for Palace, which is probably going to be good for us today because obviously we play Palace and we are actually top of the league when it comes to scoring from corners and set pieces, I think it is. Great game nonetheless though. Really good game of the weekend. Crystal Palace coming in with some very good phases of football under Hodgson. Just taking it back to basics really, having his best players up top, having Eze, Olise and Zaha in the same lineup. It's going to hurt any team going forward. As for West Ham United, they've been showing signs of fight. I don't think they'll get relegated now. There are obviously 5 teams I think worse off than they are at the moment, and West Ham are showing that they know how to score goals as well. But no, a very entertaining game. Crystal Palace obviously need a summer to obviously freshen things up a little bit. West Ham are going to have a big summer as well when it comes to Declan Rice and obviously where sort of he wants to go. So there's going to be a lot coming out of those two clubs, I believe, over the summer. But no, really good win for Palace, and that pretty much sees them safe. I think they're 11th in the league now. So yeah, Palace are good. They're home and dry. West Ham, I think, need one more win in order to be sure. Moving on to Brighton versus Wolverhampton. Really good week for Brighton. 6-0 winners against Wolves. I don't really know what else to say with regards to that, to be quite honest. Wolves got absolutely punished. Yeah, Brighton just all over them. I think I said it before, Brighton are one of those teams where their phases are so good. So through the midfield, they are probably up there with one of the best in transition. And if they had a striker that could obviously put the ball in the back of the net, I think they'd be a lot better than what they are at the moment, if that is even a thing for a club like Brighton. Really good infrastructure. But no, very exciting going forward. Like to unearth gems like Enciso and Mitoma. Really good players who are having a really big season for them as well at the moment. Brighton are currently up to 6th in the league at the minute, and that's obviously because they had another game in midweek, which we'll get into as well. But no, really good from them. Wolverhampton, absolutely shocking. Still in the mire at the moment. Could still go down and have a really tough one against Aston Villa this weekend as well, which we'll obviously get to in a little while. G-Tech Stadium next, Brentford 2, Nottingham Forest 1. This was the game which looked like Nottingham Forest were going to pick up all 3 points. Until sort of late on in the second half, Brentford obviously got the equaliser, and then in the final dying moments of the game, I think it was Josh Da Silva that got the winner. Which keeps Brentford on track for another top 10 finish, which is obviously magnificent for them. As for Nottingham Forest, they are... I know I've hyped Forest all season, and I hope they don't go down, but they are currently in the bottom 3. I still think their home form gets them out. I do think there are 3 teams that are worse off than Nottingham Forest, but they do need to get it together quite quickly. And then work on that defence in the summer, because that defence is bad. It is not good at all. It's literally leaking goals every week. Old Trafford next, we go to Man United versus Aston Villa. That was a 1-0 win to Man United. Little bit of a shot, that one, actually. I actually had Aston Villa to go there and actually go and get a draw. But Man United were resolute defensively, and have been now for quite a while under Ten Hag, to be quite honest with you. And then obviously they do have the quality to obviously beat you, and I think it was the Bruno Fernandes goal, which obviously ended the Aston Villa streak of about 9 games without loss. I believe they won literally 7 of those and obviously drew 2. But no, really good for Man United, obviously getting the win. Obviously much needed for Champions League for them. Aston Villa, who are also chasing European place, little bit curtailed. And they'll probably get back on track, I think, this weekend as well. But no, Aston Villa firing a blank is very strange, because they've been scoring goals left, right and centre for half of the season, sort of post-Christmas. They've been really good form. But a very good win for Man United at Old Trafford. We'll move on to Craven Cottage. Fulham 1, Manchester City 2, and the Manchester City steamroller goes on. They are going to be Premier League champions. Haaland is on the score sheet again. Haaland obviously has since broken the record, which obviously we'll get to after this little roundup here. But Fulham, I think, are done for this season now. I think they've got nothing to play for. They'll probably finish calmly in the top 10, which is not where they sort of envisaged finishing start of the season. But Marco Silva's done a brilliant job with them. But Manchester City didn't really get out of cruise control. We're in third gear pretty much all game. Julian Alvarez with an amazing finish for the second as well. Manchester City roll on. And probably will end up doing a treble this year. I don't want to give it the kiss of death, but I'm not seeing a team in Europe right now that is touching Man City at the moment. And Man City seem to be rotating their squad very, very well at the minute, and are winning games at a canter at the moment. And I don't see who's going to stop them at this moment in time. Off to the Vitality Stadium next. Bournemouth 4, Leeds United 1. Little bit of a formality nowadays coming up with Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth is pretty much safe. I've been writing them off all season, and then they go ahead and do this. Fair play to them, though. Fair play to Gary O'Neill. That squad of players should not be where they are in the league. I'm sorry. The teams below them have absolutely flopped, and it's given Bournemouth an out. Bournemouth are now safe. They play Chelsea today, and I do see another win for Bournemouth there as well. I think Chelsea are going to be sucked into the mire at some point this season. I might even put a bet for Chelsea not to win another game this season as well. I know those bets are live at the moment. I think I saw that at like 20 to 1. So tenner on that, you're winning 210 quid back. But really, really good from Bournemouth. Again, really, really good displays from midfield, especially from Philip Billing and Jefferson Lerma. Leeds United are, Sam Allardyce is coming now. Javi Gracia has obviously been fired again for like the 5th time in this league. Gracia, just stay in Spain, man. Build your reputation again and then try again in another few years, mate. Bournemouth 4, Leeds United 1. Leeds United, have it all to do. They got Manchester City today, which obviously doesn't get any easier. Sam Allardyce's first game back for quite some time, and I think this is going to be a fair assessment to see where Leeds United are going to be and where they're going to end up. I don't see Leeds getting anything out of the game. I see a Manchester City whitewash. I'm probably going to go with a 5-0 win there. But again, we'll get into that a little bit later. St James's Park next, Newcastle United 3, Southampton 1. Again, another formality. I think the only shock was that Southampton took the lead in that game. Wasn't really expecting Southampton to do anything in this match, to be quite honest with you. But they've shown that they can score. The problem with Southampton is they don't know how to defend. I don't recall Southampton keeping a clean sheet this season. I think they might have had about 1, maybe 2 clean sheets this season in the league, which is not many. And obviously this is the reason why they sit at the bottom of the league at the moment. I do think they are going down now. They're pretty much certainties. I think if they lose this weekend, and obviously the 2 teams above them gain a point, it becomes a catastrophe for them. As for Newcastle, they'll calmly finish in the top 4 for me. They've got they've got Arsenal this weekend. I think at the same time Newcastle are going to kill off Arsenal completely in their title run. Newcastle calmly will finish in the top 4 for me. And that's well done to Eddie Howe. There's not really much more you can really add to that. All the money and riches in the world, and he hasn't actually forked out that much, in all honesty. Their windows will be a lot better moving forward, and I'm intrigued to see where Newcastle end up, if I'm being really honest, because it's a really exciting project. And long may it continue. Newcastle back in the Champions League is not a bad thing to see either. It was really, really good times for them back in the day as well, so well done to them. Anfield, Liverpool 4, Tottenham Hotspur 3. I'm not going to go down the X route because I do believe that we were robbed, obviously, but we shouldn't be in a 3-0 loss position in the first place. We're 3-1 down in the first half. We conceded again 3 goals in the first 15 minutes. It's almost like we needed that to warm us up to then obviously come back into the game. When we do get back into the game, with Richarlison scoring his first goal of the season, we then go in and let Liverpool score at the other end with a stupid Lucas Moura back pass. Like, what are we doing? I can't wait until we get Nagelsmann in. I've heard that Nagelsmann is the one we've been talking to all week. Apparently talks have been progressing very well. Nagelsmann likes the idea of us. He likes the project that he can obviously get us into. He likes the potential of where we're at, and would take the job. But I think it's just a matter of minor details that need to be talked about. I also understand that Pochettino to Chelsea might have stalled a little bit as well. And those are the main two managers that I would like. If we can't get one, I'd want us to get the other, because I do believe we need someone that's progressive. We can't have someone that likes to sit back and defend, because obviously we don't have the squad to do it. And it showed again, trying to keep things tight at the back, and we end up conceding 3. We're playing with literally effectively 7 defenders in the game, and we can't keep a clean sheet. Something's clearly quite wrong. And I won't blame Ryan Mason, because he is trying new things. But at the same time, these players have let so many managers down. And it needs to change. It really, really does. We play Crystal Palace today at home. I have got us down to win that game based on the fact that Crystal Palace don't come here 2 hours and win. But again, football's a funny old game. So we shall see. Off to the King Power next. Leicester City 2, Everton 2. Little bit of a shock, this one. I had Leicester to win this game quite comfortably, actually. But Everton showed that they have a little bit of fight, which shows me enough that Everton will be good enough to get out of where they are at the moment. They are currently sitting 19th in the league. I do think there's a fighting spirit there, and I do think they will get out of the relegation zone as well, much like Nottingham Forest. I do think Leeds are going to fall in there. And it's difficult. Couldn't even put money on the other one to sort of fall in at this moment in time. But I think Leeds and Southampton are definitely certainties to go. Nottingham Forest, I still won't say they're not going anywhere either. I can't use Bournemouth anymore. They're out. We'll just have to wait and see for the next 4 games. But no, really good game, really entertaining game. Leicester versus Everton. Vardy on the score sheet again, rolling back the years of when obviously Leicester won the Premier League title. Everton gave it grit though. Alex Iwobi I thought was excellent the other night. He got on the score sheet as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin obviously got the ball rolling with the penalty. No, really, really good game. Enjoyed what I saw. Leicester should have won it, but obviously didn't. A point doesn't really do any favours to either side, but I think both of them will be safe. For final game of that weekend, it was Arsenal versus Chelsea from the Emirates. And again, whenever anyone plays Chelsea now, it's a bit of a formality that they're going to lose. Frank Lampard is not a football manager. I'm a better football manager than Frank Lampard. I just need to go and get my coaching badges and then show him obviously how it's done. My God, Chelsea are woeful. Got a lucky break in the second half with their goal, but Arsenal had already taken the foot off the pedal by then. Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't read good viewing for Chelsea at the moment. Will they be better next season? Obviously, it depends who they get in. Obviously, they've got all the money in the world. They will be better next season. Of course, they're going to come back. They've got money. They can obviously spend it. And it just depends on the manager that comes in with the structure that would suit. Arsenal were top of the league briefly after that win, but we all know Arsenal are not winning the league. Not going to give them a well done because they frankly don't deserve it. But yeah, no, they'll get the Champions League placements and then get knocked out of another competition, European competition that they have no right being in really, because they don't like winning European trophies. But anyway, there were 3 other games as well midweek. This would have been match week 28 or 38. So these were the ones that obviously got postponed. Like I said, for FA Cup reasons or Carabao Cup reasons. Liverpool 1, Fulham 0. Didn't actually see the game, but obviously Mo Salah scored a penalty. So it keeps Liverpool's top 4 charge intact. I'm not saying Liverpool are going to beat Man United to it, but United do need to be careful. Liverpool are right behind them. And it's starting to become a bit more of a race where it comes to Liverpool and Man United. I think top 4 currently, the top 3 I think will stay as it is. It will be Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle, and then you're one of Liverpool or Man U to take the last spot. Obviously Man United are holding that at the minute, but Liverpool are on a really decent charge at the minute and could actually pip them. I don't see it happening, but if Man United do lose another game in this running, could get a bit peak. Manchester City 3, West Ham 0. That was from the Etihad. Again, that's the game that Haaland obviously made history. 35 Premier League goals in 31 games is ridiculous. I think he's on 52 goals in all competitions. Phenom, absolute phenom. I see him staying there for another season or 2, and then he'll bounce to Real Madrid or any club he wants to really. But the man's a phenom. Manchester City are a phenomenal team. They know how to press. They know how to sort of defend. They know how to attack those phases on the wings. In midfield, it's just everything sort of is recycled. It's a perfect blend. United City have the perfect blend. The type of squad that you obviously need in order to win championships like this. And it's showing again why they're going to do it. They do play Leeds again today. Like I said, I'm probably going to do a bet builder on that, because that's going to be really interesting for corners and for cards, because I think Leeds are going to just sit deep all game, and City are just going to pepper them. Absolutely pepper them. So I do see Haaland on the score sheet again. I might do a shot on target for like an Ake and a Diaz or a Rodri. Maybe a De Bruyne plays, will go with him. There's so many different variables. So I'm going to wait to see what the team lineup says, and then make my decisions based off that. Team lineup should be in about an hour's time, because obviously all the kickoffs are going to be at 3 o'clock today. Final game of the week was Brighton versus Man United. A great game. Really, really good football. I thought Man United could have been a bit better. I thought Brighton were excellent. And again, it takes me back to my comment about Brighton needing a striker. They don't have one. If they had a striker that knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, Brighton could be fighting for the top 4 at the minute. But Brighton were excellent. 97th minute penalty from McAllister. Stupid handball from Luke Shaw. I don't know what he was thinking. Obviously gave Brighton the 3 points. No, United have really decent players. They really try to stand up for the occasion. But Brighton are literally one of those teams you just don't necessarily want to play ever, because you're in a game with them. And Brighton have still got to go to Arsenal, and I think Man City have still got to go there as well. So they could potentially have a say in where the title does go. We all know that where the title is going, but I'm just saying Brighton could literally nick points of both of those teams, and no one would really be surprised. So that leaves the Premier League match day 35 games coming up today and tomorrow, obviously. So we'll start with Bournemouth versus Chelsea. That's at the Vitality. I've gone with a Bournemouth win here. I think Bournemouth are going to win this 2-0. Chelsea just useless at the moment. Under Lampard, there's no changes here. Don't know how to defend. Don't really know how to score goals. Bournemouth are in really, really good form at the moment. And with one more point, I think they've mathematically made themselves safe. And I think they will get those 3 points today. Man City versus Leeds, as we've touched on already as well. I do see a Man City rout. I think it's going to be a 4-5-0 game. Even with Sam Allardyce at the helm, I don't see Leeds causing Manchester City any problems. And I do see Haaland on the score sheet again. That is from the Etihad. Wolverhampton versus Aston Villa, a Black Country derby there. Wolverhampton obviously got knocked for 6 last time out. Aston Villa lost their last game 1-0 to Manchester United, and I do see Aston Villa bouncing back quicker than Wolverhampton can. I'm going to go with a cheeky 2-1 Aston Villa win. Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. This can go anywhere, to be quite honest. Palace are in really, really good form. Spurs, you don't really necessarily know what you're going to get. Both teams do like to score goals quite frequently. Could be an over 2.5 goals type game. But I am going to go with a Spurs win. I will go with 3-2. Liverpool versus Brentford is the late kickoff tonight. That's from Anfield. Liverpool in really, really good form. But Brentford is kind of tailing off. They do look a bit tired, which leads me to a Liverpool 2-0 win. I think Brentford will hold out for the first half, but second half I think Liverpool will flex their muscles at Anfield, and I think they'll get the 3 points there. Then we go with tomorrow. We've got a couple of games on and a late kickoff as well. So Newcastle versus Arsenal was the first game from St James's. As I said before, you know my feelings on Arsenal already, and I do think Newcastle are going to absolutely smash them to pieces and effectively kill off Arsenal's title reign. I'm going to go with a Newcastle 2-0 win, as it was last season as well. West Ham versus Man United is a second game on Sunday, which is the late kickoff. That is from the London Stadium. Tough one to call, this one. Man United don't actually travel well to West Ham, actually, and haven't done so in recent times. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw on this one. West Ham is still fighting for points, and I just believe that West Ham's need for points is a bit more than Man United's need for points. Crowd will be right behind West Ham as well. You can't trust these games under the lights. I think it'll be quite a fruitful day for West Ham. We'll go with a 2-2 draw there. Monday, we've got 3 games again. Fulham versus Leicester is the first. That is from Craven Cottage. I will go with a Fulham win here. Leicester, I wouldn't be surprised if they nicked a point. Leicester do know how to score goals. It's just defensively they are quite shocking, and obviously Fulham without Mitrovic do tend to struggle in front of goal. But I will go with a Fulham win, so we'll go with a home win. But don't be surprised if Leicester do pull off a draw of some type. Brighton versus Everton from the Amex. That's another Brighton win for me. Quite clearly, Brighton are just a better team, and we'll show that. I'm going with a 3-0 win there over Everton. Final game is Nottingham Forest versus Southampton. That is Monday Night Football. That's actually being shown on TV. I'm going with a Nottingham Forest win. I think with that win, Nottingham Forest will get out of the relegation zone. And I think they'll have a decent run to the end of the season in their bid to stay up. So that's my roundup. I'll do a roundup obviously next week before the Leeds United Newcastle game, which is the first game next week from Ellen Road. But no, try to enjoy your weekend. If you're into the coronation, or obviously into the royal family, and obviously enjoy the day. But I'm going to try and enjoy the game as much as I can. And I'll look forward to speaking to you in a little while. Be good in a bit.